This video has kindly been sponsored by Spitch. Spitch is a fantasy football app where you can test your management skills against others and win real prizes. Create a lineup within the budget every match day and score points powered by Opta Stats. During the creation of your lineup, make various tactical decisions like picking your captain and choosing your formation. Managers then with the most points enter the win zone and win real prizes. It's completely free to download and there's some free tournaments to enter as well, so give it a try using the link in the description box below. Get registered and start building your perfect 11 for the upcoming match day. Hey guys, and welcome back to FPL TV. Before looking to Game Week 33, let's see how the side performed in the previous game week. Sadly, my transfer in didn't pay off last week, with Saka only managing a yellow card in that shock home defeat to Brighton. It was a poor return to my side for him, but I'm happy at least to own him now for Arsenal's double game week next week and then assess after that. The Arsenal defence has also been a bit of a disaster since wildcarding them in for Game Week 26, with Ramsdale managing just a single clean sheet in that time and Kieran Tierney since suffering a season-ending injury. For the first time this season, Rafinha registered his first double-digit haul, with an excellently taken goal and 10 points to go with it. The Brazilian has been a mainstay in my side for almost the entirety of the FPL season since buying him back in Game Week 7, and considering he now has a blank game week coming up as well as some fairly difficult fixtures, his 10-pointer and first double-digit haul last week was the absolute perfect parting gift from Rafinha, who I will very likely sell this week. Game Week 32 was a bit like Groundhog Day for my squad, where once again it was looking like a below-par week until Tottenham stepped up to save the day for a third game week running. The Son and Kane double-up has been dynamite over the last few weeks, with Son on this occasion bagging a hat-trick of goals whilst Kane racked up a hat-trick of assists. It's just a bit disappointing I opted for the wrong captain here. The only issue with Son hitting such incredible form right now is that it's now made my decision to bring Harry Kane in 2 weeks ago feel less necessary than it seemed at the time, because the South Korean has since outscored him in both weeks. And who knows, perhaps I'd have captained Son had I not brought Kane in. Don't get me wrong, Kane is playing excellently at the moment, but I'm really going to need him to get back in the goals to justify that hefty 12.5 million price tag, especially with teammate Kulusevski still scoring decently himself at half the price. Sadly, the downside of Tottenham's superb 4-0 win away to Villa was losing Matt Doherty to injury before locking in that clean sheet, in what looks to be a season-ending injury for the informed wingback. Frustratingly, my differential of the game week Cucho Hernandez also got injured in game week 32, as well as Lucadinho on my bench getting hauled off in his game against Spurs. And all these injuries to my squad recently could be a key turning point for the worse in my FPL season. So for game week 32, my team scored a respectable 68 points. On the face of it, game week 32 was decent enough. Not a great week by any standards, but a small rise in the rankings from 25k to 24, owning Son being the difference here. However, it wasn't my game week score that was the problem last week. The disaster of game week 32 lied more in the injuries that I picked up. Over the last 2 game weeks, I've now frustratingly lost 4 players to injury in Cucho, Digne, Tierney and Doherty, 3 of which could be out for the season now, and more notably, 3 of which did have fixtures in the upcoming blank game week 33. Now, in the build-up to game week 33, I already have some Wolves, Leeds and Aston Villa players who all have a blank game week, and that was where I wanted to focus my transfers this week. Due to this big injury crisis now, however, I've now been left with an absolutely decimated squad for 33, and with no chips left, my team is now in a very perilous position. Initially, I was just 1 free transfer away from fielding a full 11 for this blank game week, with Rafinha to James Maddison looking the obvious transfer. However, due to this injury pile-up now, it appears as things stand that I've only got 7 players to field this week, with no bench as backup. So whatever way I look at it, I'm really going to need a lot of luck on my side this week if I am to come out of it without a big drop in the rankings. This season, and in general, I've been very averse to taking hits. But on this occasion, with potentially just 7 starters, and with some teams boasting a double game week, that does increase the probability that every -4 I take has better odds to pay itself off. After all, the players I transfer out will be guaranteed 0 points, whilst all I need from the players that I bring in is to get a measly 4 points to make it worth it. So far, I've only taken 4 hits this season and no -8s yet, but this game week may be the time to do so. Granted, taking a big -8 or -12 is going to put me at a big disadvantage to lots of managers around me, especially those on the luxury of a free hit this week. I don't like it, but simply I can't think about that. All I have control over is my team, and simply if the players I bring in can score 4 points or more than the players I ship out. Before making any transfers this week, I first have to get a full picture on the extent of the injuries. Kieran Tierney and Doherty look to be certainly out for the season, but updates regarding Luca Digne and Cucho Hernandez could determine whether it's worth holding on to them, depending on how serious the injuries are and how long they'll be out for. For now, the provisional moves I'd say I'm very likely to make are Rafinha and Tierney going out, and James Maddison and Fabian Schär coming in for a -4. Both of them boast double game weeks this week, so you'd imagine with 4 fixtures that'll be more than enough to pay off the -4 hit. With a busy schedule coming up for Leicester, Maddison certainly isn't guaranteed to start both games here, but still with plenty of games in hand for the Foxes, I want him in for the long term anyway. As for Schär, well, at 4.4 million, I think there's a lot to like here. He boasts a double game week with back-to-back home games, as well as then facing Norwich in Gameweek 34. So 3 nice fixtures there over the next 2 weeks, and he does also offer some attacking threat to boot for a handy budget price. Making those 2 transfers would leave me with 10 starters for Gameweek 33, providing of course Cucho Hernandez is past fit to face Brentford, and that may just be enough. However, a -8 hit isn't off the cards here to potentially get me up to a full 11, especially if Hernandez isn't past fit and Luca Digne is indeed ruled out for the season too. In that case, I'd have around 5.6 to 5.8 million to replace either Doherty or Digne, and what I'd need to do is find a defender that I'm not just happy to own for the rest of the season now, but also one that I think will score 4 points or more in Gameweek 33, and that's not so easy to find. The likes of Matip, Laporte and Marcos Alonso do spring to mind, but in fairness, none of them are guaranteed to start in Gameweek 33, because all of Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool still have to play FA Cup fixtures on the weekend first, notably after the deadline has passed. If I am to take a further hit for a defender, then I have to know for certain they'll start, otherwise it's a -4 for nothing. Pointless. I could look to a Leicester defender here with their double game week, but again, with their Conference League commitments in Europe, their defence too is a bit of a minefield for rotation. So that's what I'll be weighing up now before the deadline, whether an additional hit is worth it to bring in another defender and field more players in blank Gameweek 33, or instead wait until Gameweek 34 now, get a better picture of who will start, and then look to take a -4 in the next Gameweek instead, to potentially fund a premium defender like Reece James or Cancelo. For the captaincy in Gameweek 33, the only double game week player that I'd consider captaining from my team personally is James Maddison should I transfer him in, with Arsenal's form at the moment a bit too unconvincing for me to consider Bukayo Saka. I'm not certain that Maddison will start both games of his double, but even 120 minutes spread over Newcastle and Everton still looks to be a decent prospect on paper. The only other options in my consideration are single game week players, with the in-form Son and Kane, and also Mo Salah, who due to his quieter form as of now, will likely see him get overlooked a lot by managers this week. With my squad looking in very poor shape for this game week, and with me certainly having to take a hit or two, getting the captaincy correct here is going to be absolutely pivotal for me in the hope to hold on to my top 30k ranking. Captaining a single game week player here could end in disaster for me, but it is one way I can combat those teams in perhaps a better position or utilising the free hit this week, as we'll no doubt see a big split in the captaincy for Gameweek 33, and plenty of teams will surely captain a double game week player. Understandably, this could naturally see them get blindsided and move away from the in-form players like Son and Kane, and also the usually reliable Mo Salah, all because they only have one fixture. And perhaps, just maybe, that could be a blessing for me, and perhaps the key to still having a successful game week. Of course, in that case, I would be relying on a single game week player outscoring a double game week player. A long shot, but not impossible. It's also worth noting this type of move did backfire on me a few game weeks back, when I opted for Mo Salah's single fixture over Coutinho's double. Form suggests that either Kane or Son could still be a very smart and sensible captain choice regardless of their single fixture this week. And with Kane's consistency now returning points in 7 consecutive game weeks, for now the captaincy does sit with him. There is some reluctancy though, with Brighton a team who can cause problems on their day, and it is the first kickoff of the game week, notably the early kickoff, which shouldn't but does impact my decision making slightly. A Kane or Son captaincy blank in the opening fixture of the game week here will no doubt render this a very painful game week to endure. As for Mo Salah, well, he's currently without a goal in open play since February, and that is certainly a concern. Like I mentioned earlier though, this will only leave him even more overlooked this game week, and therefore a much more of a differential captain than he usually is. It is worth remembering what he did to United away from home the last time the two sides met, so captaining the Egyptian here certainly isn't ruled out for me. And that's all my thoughts for my team heading into Game Week 33. No transfers have been made yet, and as per usual, I'll post my final team, transfers and captaincy over on the FPL TV Twitter page shortly before the Game Week deadline. Game Week 33 is looking set to be a very difficult one for my team, and taking a big hit isn't out of the question this week in order to fix a lot of these blank and injury woes. The plan now is to first wait and hope for updates on the seriousness of both Digne and Kucha's injuries before making those decisions. Good luck to you all for Game Week 33, FPL responsibly, and I'll catch you all very soon.